July 1942. The Libyan desert. Midnight, 20 jeeps, no headlights, no doors, no windscreen, no armor. Just engines, wheels, fuel, and guns. 60 men, moving like ghosts through the sand. Within 25 minutes, 40 Axis aircraft were on fire, and not a single man was lost. That wasn't luck. That was a doctrine. And 45 years later, the British military built it again, bigger, faster, and more lethal than ever before. They called it the Pinky. And what it could do, no tank, no armored car, no air assault could replicate at any price. Lieutenant Colonel David Sterling understood something most military commanders refused to accept. Speed and reach will always beat armor and firepower, if you use them correctly. His jeeps proved it, stripped to their bare frames, loaded with twin Vickers K machine guns, each capable of spitting over 1,200 rounds per minute. Some vehicles had a third gun bolted straight to the dashboard. No protection, no armor, just pure, concentrated violence, delivered fast, deep behind enemy lines, and then gone before anyone could respond. 40 aircraft destroyed, a garrison left stunned, and a column of stripped vehicles already melting back into the desert. The British military never forgot that night. Fast forward to 1985. A factory in Hamble on England's south coast. The regiment's previous vehicles, the Pink Panthers, battered Series 2 Land Rovers that had fought across Oman and the Middle East since 1968, were finished. Worn out, underpowered, literally falling apart under the weight being asked of them. The SAS needed a replacement, and the requirement was brutal. The vehicle had to carry 4 men and everything they needed to survive and fight for up to 3 weeks behind enemy lines, without resupply. It had to fit inside a Chinook helicopter for covert night insertions. It had to start in desert heat and Arctic cold. It had to be maintained in the field with basic tools and scavenged parts. And most importantly, it had to carry enough firepower to either destroy a target outright or blast its way out against overwhelming odds and disappear. Glover Webb of Hamble converted a batch of Land Rover Defender 110 high-capacity pickup trucks. The first 35 were delivered to 22 SAS in November 1985. A second batch of 42 followed. The Pinky was alive. Strip away everything that isn't essential. That was the philosophy. And the Pinky lived it. No doors, no roof, no windscreen, roll cage, electric front winch, wide desert tires to float across soft sand. A Rover 3.5-liter V8 engine. Thirsty, yes, but torquey enough to drag several hundred kilograms of men and equipment out of a dune at speed. The weapons fit? There was no standard, because every mission was different. The most common setup, 7.62mm general-purpose machine gun on a forward pintle for the commander, and a heavier weapon on a ring mount at the rear. That rear mount could carry a second GPMG, a Browning 50 caliber heavy machine gun, a Mark 1940mm automatic grenade launcher, or a Milan anti-tank guided missile system. A Minimi light machine gun was often bolted to the dashboard, within arm's reach of the driver, and in the load bed behind them, 81mm mortars, anti-tank rockets, Stinger surface-to-air missiles, bar mines, water, rations, ammunition, and communications gear. One vehicle, 4 men, enough firepower to destroy a position, break a convoy, or take on a garrison 10 times their size. To conventional military thinking, this was not a serious fighting vehicle. No armor. A sustained burst from the right angle could kill the crew before they even reacted. But that was not the point. The point was reach. The Pinky could go where nothing else could follow. 500 kilometers from the nearest friendly force, strike, and vanish. January 1991. The Al-Anbar Desert, 500 kilometers northwest of the Saudi border. Iraqi mobile Scud missile launchers were moving at night across western Iraq, launching ballistic missiles at Israel and Saudi Arabia, then dispersing before coalition aircraft could respond. Nothing in the coalition arsenal had the range, the independence, and the mobility to hunt them, except the Pinkies. A and D squadrons deployed in fighting columns of 8 to 12 Land Rovers each, driving north across the Iraqi border at night. GPS navigation. Lying up under camnets through daylight, resupplied by Chinook from Saudi Arabia. Then came Victor II. RSM Peter Ratcliffe's column identified an Iraqi command and communications installation south of the Euphrates, a microwave relay facility coordinating Scud operations across the entire western sector. The garrison numbered several hundred Iraqi soldiers. The SAS column numbered fewer than 40 men in their Pinkies. Ratcliffe drove the attack anyway. The column split, fire support element and assault element, hitting the target simultaneously from two directions. GPMGs, Browning 50 cals, and Milan launchers pinned the garrison. The assault teams cleared the facility. The installation was destroyed. The column was back in the desert before reinforcements could even form up. Ratcliffe received the Distinguished Conduct Medal. Victor II proved, beyond any argument, that what Sterling had done in 1942 was still valid in 1991. Same doctrine, different desert, different enemy, same result. Before we go any further, if this channel is giving you something most military content doesn't, hit that subscribe button right now. It costs you nothing. Drop a comment below. Where in the world are you watching from? Let's see how far WW3 channel reaches. And smash that like. It tells the algorithm this content deserves to be seen. November 2001. The Registan Desert, southern Afghanistan, 190 miles southwest of Kandahar. The largest SAS operation since the Second World War. Between 140 men, 38 Pinkies, 6 C-130 Hercules transport aircraft. They rolled off the rear ramps onto a desert airstrip, marked in darkness by a forward insertion team dropped by high-altitude parachute the night before, formed up, and drove 120 miles to assault an Al-Qaeda command facility and opium processing plant. Daylight assault. Open terrain, defended position. G Squadron's wagons formed the fire support line. 50 caliber machine guns, Mark 19 grenade launchers, Milan launchers, 81 millimeter mortars. A squadron pushed through on the assault. Under cover of U.S. Navy airstrikes called directly onto the target, the facility was destroyed. The column drove back to the airstrip, emplaned. The entire operation, insertion to extraction, lasted less than 24 hours. It was Sterling's model, exactly Sterling's model. 60 years on, a different desert, a different enemy, better navigation, heavier weapons, the same two-column arrowhead formation, the same fire support and assault split, the same doctrine, strike and vanish. The Pinky was heavy on fuel. It had no armor. A mine could kill everyone inside it before they knew it was there. And yet, it hunted Scud launchers across Iraq. It drove through the streets of Sarajevo. It carried men deep into Afghanistan for the regiment's largest assault in 60 years. It put SS soldiers at Iraqi airfields ahead of an entire coalition invasion. It worked because reach mattered more than armor. It worked because the men who drove it were the finest light infantry on earth. And it worked because David Sterling was right in 1942. And the vehicle that inherited his idea spent the next 6 decades proving him right again and again and again. That is not coincidence. That is doctrine, carried across 6 decades, in the tradition of the regiment that invented it. Drop your location in the comments. Where are you watching from? Like this video if the Pinky earned it. And subscribe to the channel. We'll see you in the next one.